played in the North American pool before the Valve version, and less so by the European teams. But then as the Valve version became more predominant, it was played around the world and became part of the official map pool, which eventually all the tournaments, remember, Season used to be a North American map in the ESEA lands. But before the map pool became ubiquitous, it became very European dominant. So it's kind of fallen away and fallen out of favor. And I don't know how much Sean's actually done in terms of trying to reinvigorate the meta on it.
The meta fortress has been very one-dimensional on this map in general, in North America anyway, for quite some time. So that would be the one worry, really, for both of these teams, if they haven't put the proper prep into this, that it would become very straightforward. Yell is going to be able to start things off, though, with a nice little tap on to Sean, takes him down. Problem is he's kind of trapped himself inside, but as we can see, it seems like they're going to be trapped in there with him instead. Yell picks up 3 kills before finally ending up getting taken down by Sick. And now it's a 2v4 to try to hold. Nice clutch from Sick there, though, as he moves out to pick up the nice kill. But he's forced back into quad, and that's where he's eventually going to meet his death. Afterwards, though, Almanac picks up 1 more. He still has to hold 1v2 to win out. This round goes in looking for a quick headshot. Can he get the final one? And indeed he can! Clutches it out, a massive one from Almanac, and that will give Misfits control of the opening round.
Control, indeed. Control, which was nearly lost as they one-dimensionally went back to try and find Yell in the corner after coming out from Squeaky Door. It'll be a commonly utilized position. Again, specifically, you talk about North American teams. They still love to try and lurk Squeaky. Swag was the king of it. And then he'd go. Kind of followed in those footsteps, I suppose. Young Swag. That was a cool transition between players. Somehow it kind of worked.
That was pretty cool.
Even like the knife strokes were lined up together.
Let's see if they can do that again.
Nope, definitely not. Gonna call that one now.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime player switch right there. Slower play this time from Misfits, though, for obvious reasons here. Luminosity, we usually tend to see that more aggressive style of play from the CTs in the second round, so they're just holding back to counter that. More so watch out for it. Make sure that they don't get tripped up by anything crazy that Luminosity would attempt to do. Sort of like this that we're seeing from Cello right now, where he has pushed himself out of the extremity on the site. And he's going to look to see if he can surprise against anyone from the Misfits to pick up an early kill here. At least destabilize things, make the round a little bit harder to win for them.
That doesn't Yell. Set with a bit of a bait and switch play toward mid. Sean will smoke off red. The forklift, and he'll head out with UMP to check. His teammate already has opened the door. Will hold the angle. Good shot from Pickle. A chance for more as well as Sean struggles to find the lineup on the UMP, but does get there in the end. Sick takes down Nekaz. It's on to Showtime. Nice Showtime, little man. That was the last miner that I casted. In fact, that was the last time I think I saw Luminosity in the flesh. Take that back to Montreal. Either way, Diva Duvek takes down Cello, and my timeline is as skewed as the score. It's 2-0 Misfits.
Yeah, so they close out there pretty smoothly, and that's going to give them good control in the early round, in the early portion of the game here. For Luminosity, however, this is time for them to go into the full eco round, so Misfits can breathe a little bit. You can actually hear Sean calling that out. They were kind of like struggling to put that execute together really quickly as they were looking to kind of rush into A, so they did have to pace it together at the last second, but they still got it done, and in a very quick fashion, too. So now on this run, things should hopefully be a little bit easier with Luminosity. Full saving here. The only investment we see is a flashbang brought up by PKL. It'll be completely default pistols besides that.
Cello getting aggressive. They all will. Clean up for Shazam. Sick. He wants some of it. How dare Shazam be so selfish? Sick to get in on the action. Flash out. PKL trying everything. I'll just even pop flash myself around the corner where my 3 dead teammates are. He'll join that. Luck to Shazam closes the round. 4 for him overall, but really just to clean up.
So a 3-0 start is the way that things will go here for the Misfits as they get a nice early lead early on in this matchup now. And obviously Luminosity will get their first investments rolling onto the gun round. Pretty straightforward, just 4M4 is the single op onto Yell. However, he had the glass cannon that because the money was not looking so smooth for them. So he's not going to end up having armor behind this. We'll get an extra smoke, of course, but that's pretty much the same thing that the rest of his teammates are going to be rolling with here. So very limited utility in general across the board there for the CTs.
Get ready to roll. Almanac tries to pop the windows on the inside of the skylight room. It suggests that someone is a little bit more committed to the B side than they are. In fact, it suggests that someone's trying to anchor that position and therefore the hope is that someone would stay toward B and put attention in that direction, which therefore would limit the rotation toward the A site. Anything for a game. That's what I tell myself every time I eat ice cream.
So now we have the Misfits inching forward right now, playing this very, very carefully as they line up for the execute. At the very least, they haven't really had to do a whole lot yet, but they've used quite a bit of Luminosity's utility. They're on just 2 singular smokes to try and utilize later on in the round. They have an HE grenade as well, probably to be used for a retake here, but as they move in, PKL is going to be able to hold on his own regard. Picks up that first kill, falls back to the site, and that's caused a relative halt of Misfits. They need to make some more momentum here, but no, they just get completely shut down. What a way to start it for Luminosity on their first gun round.
Decent indeed. Very good shutdown inside of the A site. No plant as well. Yell continuing to be impressive. No kills for Cello or Showtime, but again, we did just clear out our first gun round, so we won't cut into them too hard for that. Only going 3. Cello's been substantial, I think, throughout for Luminosity. I think FNS was a little bit underwhelmed by his performance in specific against them on the 16-14 game, but overall he's had a lot of hype behind him. Started out with Pain Gaming. One joining into the Luminosity roster. Showtime drops down, smokes in, he wants to line up, but he won't quite get the corner shots done correctly. Has to back off as well using the A4. There's a lot of tracers shown, and it's a rather one-dimensional approach, I have to say, from Misfits. No one going toward mid to try and force off rotations. No one trying to take over the vents. Instead, they'll go with force, and they'll wrap around. Smoke down Cello. This is by design. He does decent damage to Sean as he goes above. He shows a one-way inside of Cello, who's not quite great off enough, and therefore he'll set with a crossfire. Bomb now down inside of the smoke. And the flash will be sufficient as well because it'll buy space. I'm afraid that was a rather optimistic approach from Misfits.
Shazam legging one player here, bringing him down low, but on the repeat, he'll get his revenge, taking him back down. Ominic does actually end up taking down a majority of the players on the site, and there's a missed op shot from Yell, which is going to give Ominic a second chance to maybe look for a clutch here. You'll note there's still plenty of time left on the clock. The problem for Ominic, though, is that he's been pincered, whether he realizes it yet or not here. He's going to have to be very, very cautious, and ultimately, yep, PKL on that flank will take him down and secure the second for Luminosity. This should also, I believe, break the Misfits' money. Actually, they still might be able to go for more than likely not, though. You'll just see upgraded pistols probably on this round, and that should probably allow for Luminosity to tie things up now at 3-3.
And again, having lost map 1, Luminosity will try and force out map 3. It's Mirage if required, similar in many ways in playstyle to this cache. Double op setup, and PKL is going to get aggressive behind Fork. No flash in, but Cello is already forward toward B as well, which means it's rather passive for Misfits because they're not spotted on either front. Utility is lacking. 2 smokes. And a bomb plant needs to be the goal, and a smoke towards quad with an op at quad as well does mean that op does have to act relatively quick and play close quarters, and then perhaps even get traded out. Yell. He's gone down immediately to Sick, who goes for the op but can't draw it in time. Neck has managed to get back in, but PKL trades onto Shazam from the forklift. If they can get the op up and get a boost even toward quad, they might have something in it. A boost could be predictable with Cello's position. He tries to find Amanuk, jumps up, tagged out further, and an aid will do the rest of the damage. It's down to just Demo Deck, but with the bomb ticking, he's got a chance in this. He has armor as well. If he could get toward a rifle, he might increase those chances. So he wants to get aggressive and go battle op. Shotgun op, pre-scoped in. He realizes they're behind, can't hit the no-scope. Not his forte, I'm afraid. Yeah, and that's going to sell it away over to Luminosity again. They'll tie it back up at 3-3. Good effort from Misfits considering the buy that they brought to the table, but still not enough to win the round, not enough to preserve their lead. So now they will be up against a tie situation here. It's almost a team ace that time for Luminosity too. Everybody except for Cello getting a frag that time around here. As now, Misfits will be able to restore their money, and we should see another full buy from them, I think, coming up into this round. Actually, no. Still, it's mixed, actually. It's really weird. Just have to donate guns around, it looks like. It's all about charity. November this month, Christmas next month. They're all charities.
Yeah.
Christmas is a great time to be charitable. To be friendly to the world blue. The holidays, I should say, to be politically correct. Yay, everyone loves political correctness. Because that's not ruining the world one step at a time. Sick peeks out, Yell does go aggressive inside of the doorway. In fact, I think he's gone better than that. They went in, shut the door, and reopened it outwardly so that it's not revealed, because otherwise playing that angle, you would see the door as you came around the corner before the player and be prepared for someone to have been aggressive So instead, Yell has the foresight at least to open the door the other direction and gets the shot off. They start with a 1-0 advantage over 6 body.
And we can see Misfits again still stacking their players up. The 4-man grouping. Actually going to send Shazam over top into mid here too to try and look for a little bit of aggression to get some control going there. They've been not really playing into mid too much so far in this game, but now they're going to change that up drastically. As pretty much everyone is going to end up taking mid control
Shazam.
this time. We'll get over the top there. Hold control over the rafters. That'll be an easy peek on a white box to clear that back out. And now, well, now wait to see how they follow this up. It actually is looking like they're going to head over towards B and Shazam. Lucky to be alive.
I don't like when operas do that. I don't like when you're constantly switching back and forth between 2 angles, trying to, I guess, hope that you're going to get one. You're better to hold an angle and rely on your flick accuracy instead of having your muscle going back and forth like that. So I don't think he was ever going to hit that shot. No offense. Puts him on 17, and Amanek finally does get a kill in response against Pickle. But he's lost a lot of HP in doing so. With Shazam on 17, he's still on an op. So he's still relevant on the AWP. 12 for Eminok's a bit more of a problem, and it's even worse now they've lost Devanek. Nekez stands true and finds Shazam as well.
We're going to see all rotates moving back in, but they may not even be necessary. Yell shuts out one of the last remaining players and then does it again to take down Sean there. Great control exercise by Luminosity. Things were looking a little bit dodgy. The overall plan from Misfits was, I believe, to bait them into thinking it was going to go towards B and then execute up highway, but when they followed it through on the highway execution, everything just fell apart so quickly for Misfits due to them not accounting for that player still sitting back in quad. Just tore them to shreds, and then were never really able to recover there. So Luminosity once again come out on top of the round, and now they take the lead 4-3.
Four to 3, and I think a convincing 4-3 pattern in this, or rather pattern within that scoreline, and the fact that they've won 4 in a row and rather contested in doing so. They've won the key choke points, and Misfits has been having trouble getting the bomb down. In fact, last time they ran with pistols, that was the best chance they had because they just went with force, threw caution to the wind, and were able to get smokes down inside of the ace site. Cello this time. Ready. Last time he played in the site, he was clever with utility. Smoked himself into a corner, but it also limited the access. They did lack this discipline and this approach, and the fact that they get utility and Molotovs out inside of the site. Somehow Yell responds with a Molotov of his own to take out Sick, and then fires above from the AWP to get Dev Deck. Forward, Gale rotation on the flank. We'll find Shazam. Sean Gares, and I didn't catch the first he found, but it all counts in the end and adds up to 5 kills in favor of Luminosity.
This just turns into an absolute thrashing right now with Luminosity taking easy control of even these anti-eco rounds here. Misfits not able to get a whole lot done there. They're going through the process now of buying and saving. And this time it'll be a buy at least, so full investment once again. I think Almanac delaying that by a little bit, so yeah, he's maybe thinking about going for a double off setup there, but decided against it. So he'll just invest normally into the AK. We'll have the usual offer, Shazam. Taking the only option for this time. This round anyway. Shazam gets knocked out early, and as we see there's a little bit disappointed in that.
Yeah, a little bit of emotion, shall we say. Shown on the side of... I'm getting to be like Sean Connery with my blame my
action.
Yeah, blame my teeth that are slowly getting more and more out of the line. Bit of an earthquake, tectonic shifting inside of my mouth. Nekez has a perfect position to float in gallantly like a butterfly behind him. That's not Sean. That was not Sean Connery. I didn't quite get there that time. But he's going to try and get the flank down. Emenek and Sean Gares in front of him. Really needs to find him the first one, and Emenek does respond by turning, but that's going to leave him low on HP, and quite clearly they know exactly where he is. So Cello able to get the kill. They double the score with 6 straight rounds on the Luminosity side. Hit tab for me there, Blue. 1 bomb plant in those 6. I think this is looking like a rather dominant Luminosity map thus far.
Surprised we haven't seen a pause just yet. Yesterday we were seeing all 4 of the teams in that last group utilizing quite a few of their, pretty much most of the time using 3 or 4 of the pauses that they're allocated. But for this group, for whatever reason, teams been shying away from it. We haven't seen nearly as much pausing. And teams trying to figure out again from what's been going wrong. It's only been in really drastic scenarios that teams have paused, almost like again they're still kind of used to the older rules where you were only allowed 1 or 2 pauses per match.
Showtime and Cello. Go for the boost inside of the mid-vents. With the op to cover the angle toward Checker. Lots of information early toward the B site, and therefore Showtime can, or excuse me, rather Cello, can pivot, transition, and watch both positions because there is a bit of presence being put forward in mid as Devo Duvek gets boosted. Bit tricky with just the Deagle. He's not convinced me he's a Dupree. Nekez doesn't really amount to much. Merely a flesh wound to the kneecap of Sean Gares.
Luminosity continuing to look for opportunities to abuse the Misfits roster here in mid. They finally found one, being able to knock out both Devadivek and Shazam. Slowly taking them down one by one. Now they drop the bomb too, so Misfits once more just not really able. Okay, we see one kill coming out there from Amanek. He does some good damage to his second, but the upshot through the wall will take him out, and another upshot through the door will eliminate Sick, leading to another very dominant anti-eco round for Luminosity, and this time it is a team ace, as everyone contributes that time around.
Nice to see, but the more important aspect for Luminosity in this is because of the dominant force by which they're winning rounds. Look at the money. It's huge. You can't see it on your screen right now. I can see it on mine. 13-8. There you go. For Showtime, and I don't need to announce the rest of it for you. The only one who's not there is Cello, who's had a rather unfortunate turn of events and going down quite a few rounds and having to invest significantly in each of them. However, he'll be bankrolled should the time be required.
Yes, now the Misfits will continue to have their players split up. Looking for options to execute on. You see Yell trying to move in there for that aggressive op shot. I'm pretty sure he spotted players, but just wasn't able to find the angle to take an early shot here, so instead we'll post up and get ready for a following execute from the Misfits as the slow play continues for them. Looking for these opening picks. Never really been getting them, unfortunately, though. Always had to follow these through with 5-on-5 executes, so might need to think of a new plan here soon, as right now, again, they're just lining up for what's probably going to turn into a pretty standard A hit. It was some mid-pressure sprinkled in there, too.
Smoke lineup for Jonathan. He'll throw that towards Z Connector. It'll bounce up accordingly and cover off the doorway. Meanwhile, looking to try and play a more apt pick strategy inside of A main. Stare at the wall, we've got a flash in. Flash never came. PKL goes dry. Nobody loves a dry pickle these days. Usually marinated is a better way of going. And perhaps he would have been better off with it. Good timing, Devadivek. Exactly what Misfits need. Finally an opening with middle that gives them a two-pronged approach to the A site. Cello far back at the truck will do what he can to salvage any position inside of the site. With low HP, the nade lobbed in might have done substantial damage had it had found the intended target. More so, Showtime can do economic damage, but the round, I think, might be too far gone. 1 versus 4, a WP on a retake with a door that is closed. I
think based off of Showtime's position, they were guessing that there was not going to be any presence moving in from mid, but they miscalculated that, and that ends up being a huge misstep as it opens up a massive opportunity for them to just waltz into the site.
He's going to go now.
I really have to do a whole lot of work, but yeah, Showtime still has the potential to walk out here and surprise. They're going to keep Sick back just in case.
If he went right, yeah, so Sick not peeking is smart, because if he went right now and actually killed Sick, he would have a chance at this. Smoke down on it, Sick not peeking. Good try, Showtime. I'll give you credit. You got to give it a go. The other thing he could have done in that situation where they are going to be going into a reset potential, and now they have 4 people staying alive, it kind of negates the immediate reset. Can still happen sort of 2 rounds down the line. If he had just stayed around long enough and peeked a little bit sooner to be a nuisance, especially with 2 players on low HP, if he takes anyone down with that bomb, those all count. They themselves, though, I have to say, Luminosity, considering we just talked about how insane their money was, have certainly caused a lot of it to be gone in big investments on the CT side.
Yeah, and it's not even like they've been having relatively close rounds, too. For the most part, these have been, it's actually gotten like more dominant as their streak continued a little bit more, so. The last 4 rounds straight, they won it with 4 players left alive, so it's really just been their own individual choices here and then not utilizing the utility properly. That's ended up costing them. They're now sat with not a whole lot left over here. Misfits have the potential to take over if they can go on a streak themselves, but they also have to be careful of the reset potential. Luminosity would be able to go right back into a dominant stance if they're not careful.
Interesting boost. You don't see this often. Usually see slide or wooden box behind the red crate. But Yellow going to go behind quad. It works out perfectly. Sean never ready for it at all. In fact, didn't even think the angle would be open because you're expecting the corner of quad itself. It's slightly unorthodox and just enough so, but Devadivek and Sick able to find kills in return. PKL finds 2 of his own, including that of the bomb, and even though he goes low, he's able to evade the damage of the nade as he walks out. And the reticle, or rather I shouldn't say reticle, but the ricochet doesn't quite get around the corner. We know that they're unable of sort of penetrating through walls in CSGO. It's a debate. It's been brought up many times as Showtime holds an angle. PKL still from MBK. Never has to peek. Luminosity pull it back. This is where it's significant that Misfits were able to keep 4 guns alive in the previous round.
Yeah, as now at the very least, they might be able to justify going for a force buy. It's going to be a little bit low on a few players, but they might be able to work something together. You have to give some credit to PKL there for staying as immobile as he did for so long, because I think the problem was when Misfits went in, got the initial kill into the Opper, and then killed the guy that was right next to E-Box. I think they thought that that was the guy who originally had boosted up the Opper. So PKL was essentially free at that point to jump back out and do what he did, which is get a massive number of impact kills and really secure the round. So it was his patience, really, that let Luminosity take sturdy controls. If not, Misfits might have been able to come out on top of those trades. But we're already into the action for the next round here. Devaduvek starts it off with a nice one, moves in, and already has taken down Nekis. I'm not entirely sure how he managed to chain that kill together, but regardless, seems like he got it towards mid.
Yell still holds middle with no smokes in front of him to deter his vision. Bit of an interesting one-way gap on the smoke for Cello to utilize. Backside the boxes. Definitely sounds like a split is the intended goal for Misfits. And it's Emenik they're going to send this time rather than Devaduvek, excuse me. Forgetting an entire syllable. That was a joke, Blue. You can laugh a little bit. I know they're not funny, but at least fake it. That's what most people do in my life.
Sorry.
But it gives it was Devaduvek that actually found the kills last time. So the fact that they've got a second approach in it, they still need to find the kill on Pickle, who stays at NBK. Showtime as well. He's going to take down the bomb.
And now in the 2v2 here, Misfits are going to try to hold on and control Shazam. Even though it is alone on the site, however. Almanac is still playing down in the event. We see a rotator move back in. The Molly goes out, but Shazam's going to be able to hold on his own. However, he loses his teammate. And now it becomes a 1v1 between Shazam and Cello. Cello will back away. Chuck in the HE grenade, does some okay damage, nothing significant though. And Shazam actually thought he was going to wide swing, so pre-fired into a much more open position. Cello stops short of that and is able to spray him down, winning out the 1v1 and giving yet another round to Luminosity as they go up 9-4.
1 versus 1 does keep money reasonably low on the Luminosity side. They're keeping them honest at the very least, but round 14 and Misfits only achieving 4 rounds thus far. It does put them in a tight spot more so because if they want to win, I doubt 9-6 is a possibility. Let's just put it that way with the money as it is.
Yeah, they're pretty much full saving here on this round too. Well, I don't know, they actually get armor buys coming in a
They
little bit later.
well, they can justify that because they're going to get a third round loss bonus. So if they stay around the 1900 T side, you're in an okay position.
The track record on these types of buys, though, in this half have been pretty unsatisfactory, one might say. So Nekis is actually going to move in and just get hyper-aggressive this time. Sick doesn't seem to care about the door, even gets spammed through the door a little bit there, and it's been shut down relatively quickly. Only 2 left alive here now for the T side. Shazam getting eliminated. Almanac left as the last man standing. He chains together at least 1 kill, but now he's been revealed where he's at. Luminosity can begin the process of shutting him out, and it doesn't take very long. A Yell hits the final shot, and Luminosity will indeed get to double digits before the half is done.
3 AKs. Devaduvek will naturally bring one out himself. But 11-4 would be rather convincing from Luminosity, having lost pistol as well. Only 1 gun round. 4 Misfits in this entire half. Double op again. Extremely, extremely powerful on Cash. Early nade, Showtime's going to drop. Use that nade to try and give them the angle and position. Not so much in the fact that he's using the dust and particles and doing so, but and he's hoping it would physically move them off the position. Nekis reverse boost goes up just as Shazam arrives. A spray down, and he comes out with 2 before Sean is ready to respond. That's going to cost Misfits dearly early. And they know someone had to have boosted him, so Cello wants to get out of middle, but gets himself inside of vents in doing so. No need to vacate entirely. In fact, he's gotten more clever than that because he's busted out the vents to suggest he's gone that direction, and he'll stay toward the sandbags.
Hold himself into a stable position here. And now for the rest of Misfits. Start to slowly lurk towards an execute here. Walking out, Cello holding for the time being, and actually ducks down there. Potentially get a little bit of a reload off, but he just goes right out, starts tapping away, and it's like he's not even going up against full guns at this point. Moves in, easily knocks out 2 players, and then Showtime shows up to finish off that last kill, and they'll end it 11-4. A very dominant stance exercised here by Luminosity. If they win the pistol, it'll only continue to grow making it nigh impossible for Misfits to come back on their CT side.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough ask for Misfits. They'll need at least both pistols in this game. Amanek surprisingly leads the way because it wasn't as though his contribution was certainly resounding in terms of impact. I would say two of the greatest contributions in terms of individual kills came from Devo Duvek on Highway. That was how they actually secured the one gun round they did get. It was one of the only rounds they got map control to do so. So something that they certainly lacked on their terrorist approach was making sure they had positions that weren't even necessarily winning for duels, but winning for position. Every trade was viable in finding space, and it was definitely underwhelming, I think, is a fair word. Can we go with that?
Yeah. That's it. That's fair.
It's a shame. Cello going to wait out toward B. Alongside him, he has Showtime, but they'll spread the map accordingly and try and wait for aggression. Aggression that comes out in the form of Shazam toward A main, but he doesn't find any further damage onto Yellow. In fact, I know it's just Yellow, but I like Yellow. Yellow. It's a good color.
Yeah.
He goes down to 85.
Shazam is going to try to make an aggressive move here. Get some intel, sees them falling back. And they're going to stick with that path as well here. Obviously, he'll take that intel with a grain of salt, knowing that he spotted their movements. And now we'll see additional players on Misfits start to crawl across the map here, looking for their own opportunities to try and scout out some intel. Specifically, you've got Amanek posted up towards the edge of checkers, but he's not really going to be able to see all that much. Luminosity end up pulling out of the B hulls entirely. And they probably, in a second here, are going to go in to both mid and A main to look for their execute onto the A site. It's actually a very, very slow pistol round, given how we normally see this type of round played out here. Shazam fighting contest in mid, but Yell will come out on top of the actual fight. He takes down Shazam, and now the rest of the team floods in. One actually ends up going past the smoke. I'm not sure if he meant to do that or not, but Sick will take him down anyway.
Decent find from Sick. I think it was a Highway check, but he may have lost himself in doing so and exposed slightly forward in front of the red crate rather than where he wanted to, as Yell finds two inside the middle. Both Sean and Devo Dead go down. Yell's removed from the equation, but the fact that he lurks that late and Amanek has to go back to get the kit is going to buy so much time for Misfits. Getting the kit almost negated by the fact that it took some 3 seconds to do so, which means 3 seconds less to work on the retake, which is only 2 seconds the bonus of what he would achieve as Cello finds the first shot, swings out, finds the second. Great contribution, and now Luminosity look like they're in a fine position to take the second map, but 4 rounds still to go.
Yep, and managed to secure pretty much everything they needed to do there in the pistol round. So nice way to clean things up there, make sure that they don't lose their grasp. And for Misfits, a choice to be made here. Since the scoreline is as drastic as it is, they could force here, they could try to save one and get a slightly better buy, but it looks like they're going to just go down the normal path, forcing up on this round and hoping that they can upset before Luminosity build up too much of a stack here.
Sean Years. Smoke lined up to cover off a gap when they wrap around on him. In fact, he'll drop it now with the right click, hoping that the CZ will be enough. Crosshair placement's extremely low, I have to say.
Yell still looking for the angle to try and punish any Misfits players that'll try to rotate back in. They're playing it very passive right now as they know they're going to try to get aggressive, and they're correct about that. Shazam leaning back in, had a great angle on Yell. Can't finish him off there. Oh, there we go. Through the smoke, is finally able to succeed in getting the kill. And now he takes back control over here over Forklift. You'll note that the Luminosity never actually committed the bomb into the site. They're going to quickly rotate this back the other way, where now they'll take down Shazam and have an easy path to the other site.
Showtime, good hold in middle. And they'll realize that they have left the A site. Good from Sean. CZ, in fact, drive-by onto Nekas. That's bomb. They didn't actually commit to B either. PKL somehow gets in behind them. Sean wins that exchange, and therefore turns around. He's done an incredible job with the CZ-75. He finds himself in a one-on-one, and Sean again, a man to clutch when you'd least expect.
And that's what they needed now to get back into this game. They found the upset, and now they got to keep it consistent, though, as Luminosity for certain should be buying back in just as aggressively. Looking for a response to that so they can quickly try to close out on this map here. But if Misfits can piece it back together, then okay, maybe the game's not so far gone just yet. They still have a long way to go. 7 rounds behind Luminosity at this point in the game. But if they can break them, obviously, Luminosity still have to go through one more eco round before we're going to see them come back with a full buy. That will set Misfits up at around 7-12.
Cello already tagged a little bit, down to 76 HP. He'll be fine. Nekas will get a little bit more aggressive. Peculiar, in fact, that they did not take that bomb to B. And Nekez as well was the one to get caught out in the initial exchange, which meant they had to go back to support. Sean already had control of the situation by that time. Meanwhile, Yell will be boosted. Nekez will peek. They still have money enough for the pistols to be added and updated, but money is so situational at this point. The one rifle they do have in the hands of Yell is able to take down Shazam, and it'll go a little bit closer. Devudek cannot quite get around the corner, and immediately Yell has found another kill, so great response already. 4 versus 2, PKL on 5 HP, but still in it for Luminosity.
And now we see Nekez and the other is going to try to move back in. Take back control of the B site here. Almanac able to swing in, steals 1 kill away. The problem is, though, he's been dinked very heavily from that. It's even dangerous to stick on that angle in the cross, considering that Luminosity working with a lot of pistols, and those are very mobile weapons. Regardless, though, it gets put down to a 2v3. And Misfits will look for an opportunity to get into position to retake. Sick. To deal with a hard angle, though, moving back in, whether he's seen it or not. PKL is going to be waiting for him over there. And indeed, he does surprise him, taking him down, leaving only Almanac alive, and he's probably going to fall back now to call for a save. Knows he can't pull off the 1v3 on his own. So Luminosity will take back that control and go up 13-5.
Misfits caught out way too early, way too easily inside of middle, to be completely honest. The one rifle from Yell. Not traded, got a lot of free reign, got a lot of map control. And then taking individual moves to try and compensate for it. They'll pay the price, a heavy price, in fact, because it gives away momentum in a game when they desperately needed the pistol. Didn't find that, but they got the next best. Kills for Eminem still leads the way, 21 for Yell. Naturally, he was the one to win the last round as well, holding on to the Galil.
Still is going to be an aggressive investment, though, from the CTs, and this time they're going to play it very aggressively. Showtime hears this, though, is going to pop flash outside. It affects no one on the side of Misfits, though. Both of them remain completely unhinged by that flashbang. Almanac will be able to easily knock out Showtime, and then they smoke it off, which is going to try to funnel these players into the A bomb site. The odd thing is, though, is that Misfits don't have a whole lot of presence on A. It's almost like they're playing a retake angle, and with all their players sitting off the site right now, so they're going to have to try and make up for this. The usual smokes will work their way back out. Devudek's got to be a little bit careful about that spam, as it does give away his position. You can even see spam going back at him. He's brought down to 32 HP as a result of it. And not really surprising there that we see Luminosity waltzing right in, getting site control. Misfits with the man advantage. Even with that, it's going to be tough for them to get back in and retake this, since they know nothing about the post-plant positions of Luminosity.
Fine, Sean Gares at least. Another CZ round in the cards for Sean. Perhaps they've got a man advantage. Boost behind Quad is given up on because they can't afford to get caught out too early. Yellow goes down to Shazam trying to push. They know Cello's behind the Quad. Both of them out of ammo, have to switch across, and rather than switch and reload, they'll switch players as Sick comes in to close in another round of Misfits. They pull it back once more, or rather interesting, I suppose is a word for it. Start to the second half, and finally Misfits will get back the momentum. 2 AKs pulled over in doing so.
So 13-6. The problem with these trade rounds going back and forth is it's still going to favor Luminosity for 2 reasons. One, it still serves as a purpose to slowly crawl them up towards 16 rounds. And secondly, if this ward of attrition goes on for too long, Luminosity will still end up winning it just by the fact that they're on the T side and they have to expend way less on these force buys here. So their money's going to last way longer than Misfits will. But Misfits have the advantage right now, and if they can finally crush Luminosity here, then once again, they'll have that lead restored and have that small chance try and come back in this map and get a 2-0 shutdown against Luminosity. It would definitely be a great comeback to see. But at the moment, Luminosity is still very much in the driver's seat of this match.
Flash bounced. Almanac. The other side of it will not pursue. They went around with a single FAMAS and 4 pistols. This time they've got 2 AKs on top of that mix. A little bit of sprinkle for flavor.
Yeah.
My favorite donut at Tim Hortons. You don't know what Tim Hortons is, Blue, but that's
I know
fine.
what it is.
No, you don't. You know
Yes,
what
I
Dunkin'
do.
Donuts is. You've never heard of Tim
I know
Hortons.
what
Don't
Tim
lie to
Hortons
me.
is.
What is it?
I lived in Rochester for 2 years.
What is it?
It's the Canadian version of like Dunkin'
No,
Donuts.
you're wrong. It was a hockey player.
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were just talking about the
I'm
place.
just messing with you. Don't worry about it.
They have Tim Hortons in upstate New York, so.
I know, yeah. Actually, there's quite a few. It's owned by Burger King now, so there's.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I don't think they've like fully committed to the U.S. platform yet, but there's quite a few of them in the States.
Yeah, they were everywhere when I was in college. It's like a staple place.
True. Very much is up here. You are not considered a small town in Canada by population. You're considered a small town in Canada by having a Tim Hortons. You could have 10 people in a Tim Hortons and you are on the map. Good shot. Shazam takes down Showtime, but Pickle continues to give them a bit of a dilly because he's found 2 on the way through, and it's Eminent that goes down late. It concedes the site. The bomb gets to position. No smoke in the gap, but Shazam can't quite find the angle. It's always a tough shot with just an AK. And bomb plants immediately after, therefore, for Misfits.
Very tense 3v3 here too. Misfits again, this is where they faltered before. They weren't able to successfully move in and get a retake going. They're going to move in the flashes. Good Cello though picks up the initial kill. And that's going to bring the numbers down for Misfits even more, so they cannot get back into the site it seems. And they're absolutely shut down. Luminosity win it again, and that's another reset against Misfits' favor.
14 rounds on the board for Luminosity as they steal one back, getting inside of the site. The 2 kills that gave it up. It's so hard to retake B, and unfortunately, the way that Luminosity looks right now, I don't think Misfits even has it in them. They certainly don't this round, back to just pistols and UMPs. So playing for overtime with, what, 9 map points?
Pretty much, yeah.
Looks like that's going to be the case.
That is assuming, of course, they don't upset on this round again, but like I said before, the buys are going to end up getting slowly worse and worse, but they get the first kill this time. Good strike back damage against Devadivek at least, and Sick as well, brought down relatively low. Luminosity, I'm sure, are going to adjust in kind to this, and indeed they already have. Nekis has been able to find Devo, finishes him off. Nekis, though, didn't realize that Sick was crawling right past him, so didn't realize it. Sick will get the trade kill, and just like that, Misfits have the man advantage again. Yell slowly creeping back into the mid-garage here. They're going to look for more opportunities, but doesn't realize it yet, but Sick had crossed inside, so that could come back to haunt them later if he keeps that position, but as we can see, he does end up falling back to a more passive spot here. And Luminosity look for their options to execute here on B.
Eminent spotted Showtime's gun barrel and takes the first shot instead elsewhere. Showtime didn't really have to think hard for that one, did he?
No, not at all.
Follow that with Yell taking down Sean Grills. I would say he gets all the grills, but he's got a ring on the finger.
That's true.
Begrudgingly, I accept.
So that leaves only these 2 alive for the Misfits, and I think with an AK in the hand of Sick, they're probably going to opt more. They were looking for options to get into the site. You can see here, Sick's kind of fishing for something, but ultimately, I think it's better to save this AK at this point. Even considering the scoreline here, you'd just be trying to get a couple of exit frags to at least make it costly for Luminosity so that by some chance if they do upset on the last round, they can take them out. Sick ends up getting 1 more kill, but he's locked himself into that fight, so will go down to Yell at the end of the round, and Luminosity push up to 15. 1 more needed for them to tie this series up at 1-1 and send us over to Mirage for our 3rd and final map.
Mirage is, I think, a decent decider between them, but it lends me to believe that Luminosity has the upper hand on it. It's more similar to the Cash style. Obviously, it does mean the T-sides need more execution-based, but Luminosity are winning duels everywhere. So forget just execution and forget any sort of utility. If they're continuing to win the gunfights in this fashion, then I don't expect much from Misfits. Misfits, again, we said play for overtime. They actually went so far in on the force buy last time that they're not much better off in this round. With 2 SMGs, 2 pistols, and a deagle, 2 CZs. They're all 3 pistols, I suppose, blue. Stop being so technical, blue.
Nekis is going to be able to take down Shazam. He's going to be able to take down Shazam there. Showtime finding a 2nd kill as well. And even finds another one there. Just kind of ripping through Misfits as they attempt to force buy into this one. Not a whole lot of hope. They do kind of walk past Sick, so he gets a trade kill off that at least, but still. 2v4, locked out of the site. Granted, we don't have Luminosity actually putting the bomb in there yet. In fact, it looks like they're going to go the other way. They're going to take the bomb over towards A instead, so Misfits actually being baited into this play. But the problem is, though, is that Luminosity still their players relatively far spread out here, so it's a lot of 1v1s, and at the moment, a lot of 1v1s that Misfits are winning. That additional kills brought it down to a 2v3. They already obviously know, since they still were holding right outside of B, that it's not going to be planted on B. So they'll have plenty of time to rotate over here. It will ultimately come down to this clutch, though. The 2v3 they'll have to go for, and Yell has already seen at least one of them, if not both. Taking down Devadivek. It's good first start. Sick will trade. Now he's alone, though, and PKL finishes it off. Luminosity take control of map number 2. 2 with a final score of 16-6, much more dominant than what we saw back in the first map. And that extends us over to our third and final map of the day and this series on Mirage, where one of these two teams will be moving on, and one, unfortunately, will have their major journey cut short.
And there was lots of opportunity, I have to say, for Misfits to get into this game. First 3 rounds, they won the pistol, they had the start, they had the momentum, they never really controlled the economy afterwards, losing pretty much every single gun run except for one where Devitek finally got to mid. T-side was lacking, but CT side especially, you go back and forth 3 or 4 rounds at the start. As soon as they won the eco, they made too many mistakes committing to peaks in 1v1 situations inside of mid, and then it just fell apart. And unfortunately, I have to say that Luminosity was much the better team. Going on a Mirage, gonna have to find an answer quickly in terms of utility and I guess map control overall. I guess Mirage in one sense. Unlike Cash, we're trying to take middle, you don't have as much availability to do it, and teams, even if they're less willing to give it up, but even if they do, you don't get a direct exploit of being able to rotate as easily through the vents. It's tighter choke point than Cat, or getting a boost inside window that immediately connects to A. Mirage, you can actually get gifted map control a lot more easily, I suppose you could say. Teams play more passively, you get smokes down in mid, and you can play more picks off of that. So maybe there's a chance that Misfits can do something more in middle, but that was pretty, I have to say, lackluster on their T side.
Yep, I would agree. It's the same. So, guys, map number 3 is coming up in just a couple of moments. Do stick with us. We'll be returning with our final map of the day.